present this ScanTent as we come to the idea. So this is an illustration of the ScanTent. It consists of a tent that has now which diffuses now ambient light, so you have the best conditions for your scanning of your mobile phone. It's easy to assemble and portable. It's lightweight. I can demonstrate that here. Easy transport it. And we have also an LED light within the tent, so it's a non-destructive LED light for the best lighting condition, and the illumination improves the image quality. On the top says their phone, so this is the part with the camera, which is now up to 40 megapixels. So Günther has his new phone right in the back with 40 megapixels, so the image quality is good enough for up to in A4. This is what Tent is built for. It's also stabilization, and you have both the hands free and can move the page inside the tent. Afterwards, we'll have a short presentation of DocScan. So this will be done by my colleague Fabian. So this guarantees the best image quality and also takes a picture automatically after each page is turned. And afterwards, you can also upload the images to your Transkribus account if you like. So you see here our first prototype. It really looks nice, but there was obviously some things to do, so we kept on developing. And this was our second prototype, which is right over there in the corner. So this was almost nothing to add. But now we have this last prototype, which goes in series. This is the white one here in the front, which has the advantage, it diffuses the ambient light, so you have really nice pictures of your images. And we are currently in the production type of 300 prototypes, so we hope to be able that these could really be sold in the beginning of 2019, and the costs will be around €200. So this brings me right to the DocScan app that I will hand over to Fabian.
So together with the ScanTent, we created this app called DocScan. Basically, the screenshot, it gives you a kind of quality control. Here you can see page detection, and also we have a focus measurement. This signals the green rectangles. They show you that everything is in focus, that the text regions are in focus. One outstanding point compared to other scan apps is that we have an automatic movement detection. So the images can be captured automatically without any user intervention. So you just have to flip the pages. While the pages are flipped, it shows that there is movement detected. That's the reason why the preview is slightly red. And until the manuscript stands still, and then your picture is automatically taken. Apps, we also have, of course, an image preview, but for app, can also show the page detection result. Here you can see the red and the yellow rectangle. We also have an upload function. So one thing is that we have a Dropbox integration. It's not integrated right now, but I think it will do it in the next week. So right now it's currently tested, but it works. So it will be published next week. And one thing that is already there, maybe 1 year I think now, is upload functionality for Transkribus, of course. Yeah, you can see both here. We also have image gallery. So on the left side you can see some pages that are already cropped. And so the last image here is not cropped. And once you have taken the images, then you can do this cropping, and also you can refine the border of the page detection result if it's not found correct. That's it for the moment. I will do now a live demo. If you want, the app is available in the Google Play Store for free, of course, so you can just download it. Now I will show you a live demo. So here would be the document. So we have two modes. Here is the single mode, and you can see here the two measurements. So one is here the yellow rectangle shows the page detection, and the green rectangle shows the focus measurements. So, for example, if you rotate it, then let's say you have to rotate it, or if the image is not focused, then the rectangles would turn red. And here's now this automatic page detection, or this automatic change detection. So it's quite serious. So it detects when you make a movement. Hold still, then the page is scanned. So flip the page, for example, here, until you flip it, or until the document is hold still. No picture is taken, but if you hold still, then picture is taken. So here it's the same. Here we have an overview. There you can see the results. For example, the images, they don't look that bad. It's just the quality of the scanner after Diem. So you can also refine the results, as I told you. So here we can say this. You can either perform the cropping for each image manually to see how it will look, or you can also do it in a batch mode. So here you can select all images and then crop them. So this is how it would look like. Like I told you, we have also this upload functionality where you can see the entire documents. So the first time you start the upload of one document, so here you just click here on the upload button, and for the first time you do the upload. A collection called DocScan mobile uploads is created in Transkribus, and the other documents, they are then uploaded to this collection. So here you can see the results that we took at the ScanTent on Wednesday. So, and here you can see then the progress of the image upload. So basically, I think that's it.
One addition from my side. You see the advantage of the white tent is here that we have glossy paper. We have here glossy paper. It would reflect otherwise. So with modern books and so on, this situation now is perfect because the ambient light is sufficient for the smartphone, and as you can also do pictures or photos in a perfect way.
So I think we have time for a question or two.
Let us from where you get the light, because here we have, because I understand there is some lamp inside. Perfect. Thanks.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to
I was wondering if you're also considering making a bigger one, bigger tent.
Bigger tent.
Normally a document, a book is like this big and this high, so it will not fit.
Yeah, we are considering this. The thing is, there's a usual camera with 12 or 16 megapixel. You come down to something like 160, 180 pixel per inch, which is sufficient for Transkribus and for text recognition, no question. But if it goes below 150, I think it gets a bit annoying. But Huawei has now this P20 Pro with 40 megapixel. And with 40 megapixel, you have here more than 400 dpi in this tent. And we are considering to build a larger one, but requires, of course, a camera, which is sufficient.
one more question.
My question is, I'm trying to get somehow the price a little bit down by, for example, trying to, to sell it, for example, to students, who would probably need it, like to take their notes, etc., etc. Because 200 euros seems to be a little bit steep for such a device.
Yes and no. From the student's perspective, yes, but we would expect that libraries and archives will buy 5 pieces and just put it in the reading room and that's it. So, and I have to say that producing the tent is hard work. It's not easy. We all underestimated it, I think. Partly because we are more used to software projects, but also because the requirements of building up a device which you sell and where you have to fulfill all the customer needs the next 2 years, and where you have to give warranty and so on and so on. So 200 euro is really the minimum, I would say, to make a good product at the first time.
And the next paper is by Dirk Alvermann from University of Greifswald.
Thank you. I will tell you something about DocScan in the University Archive of Greifswald. First, I will tell you about the ideas and motivation to work with DocScan in an archive. Then I would like to give you a practical idea of our workflow and our rules of digitization on demand. And after that, I'm going to present a couple of results and future plans. So to be honest, it never was one of my favorite visions to have people visit my reading room and use their smartphones to take pictures of archival documents as they wish. But since the end of the last year, maybe you have seen it or you have known it, a lot of German state archives have allowed photograph in the reading rooms. I know in other nations it's common since years, but for Germany it's something new. So the wave is rolling, and we recognize that we can't escape this development. So we thought about how we could take an advantage of it, combining the interests of users in archive. These are different interests. If the user is taking a picture or pictures with his phone merely for himself, this benefits only him. For the archive, or from the archive's perspective, this is wasted energy. But this value that is generated by the user could also benefit the archive. So therefore, we chose a solution of mutual benefit. For this purpose, we have developed a kind of workflow with the help of the Transkribus team and the DocScan group, and I would like to introduce it briefly to you. It uses basically 3 elements: DocScan, Transkribus, and Ariadne. You already know the third one. Here in the center is our archive information system called Ariadne. It's an online catalog which is used by 12 archives of our federal state. We have implemented this workflow into our information system, so now all participating archives can use it. The main idea was to combine the benefits of all 3 services and to create new chances or collaboration opportunities for archives and users as well. So what came out is a compromise. As you know, or if you maybe not, Fabian didn't mention it, you can use DocScan with a QR code. You can find the QR code generator on the ScanTent website. In this case, we use a special generated QR code, which the user has to pick up at the desk in the reading room. The archivist opens our information system, gets the document which the user wants to scan, and requests the QR code. In this moment, Ariadne sends the whole metadata set to the Transkribus server and gets back a specified upload ID, which is then embedded in the QR code. The user takes the QR code and creates a document in a DocScan app, and then the whole process is the same like Fabian has shown in the last few minutes. server, and the document gets there for the user. The transcribers will recognize the specific upload ID and duplicate the document to a collection of the archive. So the picture is now available for both for the archive and the user. And it looks like this. Here you can see the export tool with the document metadata window of the export client. It includes the whole metadata set of the archival information system and the backlink to our service. So the user can refine, if he forgets where the document is from, the special annotations for the document. And while this is a document that belongs to a public collection of our archive, you can see it made more or less immediately in the web user interface of Transkribus. So at the end of the day, this is the IAM interface. At the end of the day, we check all the successful uploads. Maybe not all the uploads are successful, some things get lost. And then we decide if we want to link this document to our system. After we have done so, the links immediately become visible in the online catalog. And so the metadata and the picture is connected. And you can see this little icon, Transkribus, what says you that you can get to the images immediately from our catalog. So it has come full circle. Okay, this workflow, as you can imagine, offers some benefits and opportunities for both for user and archive. First, no matter what, the user can always refine the scans by using our information system. I think it's easier to go this way than to use the web user interface or something else. Other users have the advantage that they can access the material already scanned by others. And third, groups of users can work together in a Transkribus web user interface and thus organize their own projects, maybe their own scanner on something like this. What's the advantage for the archive? Well, that's obvious. We improved our information system or information service without us doing anything for it. We have metadata connected with images without doing anything. And we can motivate volunteers and users to transcribe in the web user interface, and then we have access to the transcriptions and results, and maybe if we are interested, we can use them to train new HDR models. But will the effort pay off? Well, this question can't be answered now because the workflow is established in the last few weeks and we have not such a lot of experiences, but it can be answered from two different levels. The quantity. Our forecast is that we upload about 6,000 images per year along this way. It's not much, that's true, but the broad thematic spread might be very interesting because it doesn't depend on the archivist decisions or librarian decisions, but on the user decision. So it gives us an idea what the user wishes to be digitized. Of course, this will not replace our regular digitization process and a file series for our digital library, neither in quantity nor in quality, because the quality of the scans always depends on the user's device, and well, not everybody has the new UI. So often you can see scans with low quality, and they are not really usable for the task that we want to do with it. Experiences, what we have seen is that the younger generation already liked to use the ScanTent and DocScan before the workflow was established. And we now curious to see how they will use the new offer to collaborate in the web user interface and to organize themselves, maybe with a little help of the archive. So for the moment, I think this should be enough. Instead of a summary, I will show you an instruction video that contains all the steps of the workflow and our ideas. If you would help me to start the video. It's an instruction video that my younger archivist and enthusiastic archivist did for the users that are not common with the idea of DocScan. So enjoy the film.
So thank you, Dirk, for your extremely interesting presentation. Are there any questions? There at the back.
I have two questions. One is related to the scanning process. As I could see in the film, your QR code was related to the entire book.
Yeah.
Do you demand the users to scan the whole book? Or
No.
okay, so you can have parts of books.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any control or which parts of the books are scanned and which are not?
No, and that's not the sense of the workflow. The workflow replaces the normal digitization on order in the sense of if the user asked a copy of page 50 to 60, I say, well, do it yourself. And then these 10 pages will be connected to the archive information system. If the next user comes, he might be at another 20 pages. I think to now one of the problems of DocScan maybe is that I don't know how it is scale, how many images you can upload in one write. You know. So I think we discussed to make a pause in it so that we can add several links to our system, to the metadata set then. But I can't control what elements of the file will be scanned or are be scanned.
Thank you. The next question is related to security issues. Your film was taken in a rather small room, and the problems wouldn't be great there. But in greater libraries, it seems to me that the temp is blocking for the CCTV systems. Couldn't that be a problem somewhere?
I can't reply for bigger archives or libraries. In this case, I think it's a good solution for little archives where the desk can control control what happens within ScanTent. On the other hand, I mentioned all the big archives that allow to take photos in the reading room. They have rules in the sense of put off the flash and such things. But this is a controlled environment, the ScanTent, and that's better than I've seen users doing this, taking photographs this way. And so I think the ScanTent is just a progress. For us, it's good. It's a good solution.
Actually, I have one question to the archives, because I don't have much experience with the rules in archives. I've seen some documents which are numbered, so 1, 2, 3, 4, with pencil. And of course, there are also many documents which are not numbered. So what is the policy on this? Because I have to say, from the technical point of view, if there are numbers on the right top edge or wherever, that would allow a lot of automated processing. If there are no numbers, yeah, no chance. So this is something I really would be interested to hear. Would you allow or would you consider to not by the user, but because as I said, there are many documents. You say no?
Yeah. I'd say no as an archivist, definitely no. That was practice in the prior centuries. We don't want to get anything new to the documents. We want to preserve them as they are when they were given to the archives. So unfortunately not.
No.
Are there other opinions in the room?
I think that it's a problem for the archives because they know that it is impossible to have a good digitalization of a register, of a file, if you don't put the numbers on it. So first you have to treat it, and later you have to photograph it. Normally this is the habit in the big archives. So that you can link the photographs to the precise point on the page in the register. And if the public takes pictures, I think that it is a good way for the little archive to have the copies, but there is a big work to do in the back office.
For this one?
I think so, because if you don't number the pieces, you have to you have to double work in another moment.
If I may, best practice in PASA is we do pagination through the archivist. So yes, Lauri, we do what you do not want to do, but we're a small archive. So everything is numbered first before it goes out into scanning. And that works. And therefore, yes, you introduce additional things, but with that you can actually, supervene those retrieving things and especially citing things, because some of the users come back to it with snippets, and the archivists have to search for where that came from in order to get the correct reading which the users want. So these things would be aided, of course, if you don't have a large archival system installed because you're not there yet, that would still be a possible route to go.
Definitely. I think we have to close the discussion. Continue with the coffee. I can give you the solution in Finland. When a customer wants to 20 pages of digitized from a volume of 1,000 pages, digitize the whole volume. And In that way we can go on pages. Of course you can't do it with the ScanTent.
Maybe one last word for strategies. I mentioned this is not replacing our digitization strategy. So if we want to do huge series of documents, it takes us a year of preparation, project, getting the people scan the material, then to create the metadata, then to export it to the digital library. This is one process, one strategy, and this is a very very good discussed strategy. This is an addition which answers to a need of users and which has nothing to do. This has to do with information, with improved information, not with digitization in terms of good pictures, nice other things, but first to have pictures or to have further information in our archival information system. So it doesn't replace regular digitization. And that's right, data archives can afford to say, well, if you want to have 20 pages, let's do the whole 1,000. This would mean that I could spend, I don't know, a third of my money for digitization only for those jobs.
One last question. Can I have a link compared to the movie? I cannot find it.
No, it's not online yet, but it will be in the next 2 weeks on our website.
I'm not sure even